Good evening, I'm Brazil Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. It's the first day of the movement control order. How did you spend your day? Indoors, I hope, but not all of you were indoors. I know many people were on the roads. Some even had their breakfast at local kopitiams. You know who you are.
The movement control order is in full effect and most shops around the country have closed their doors in order to combat COVID-19. Most shops at least. However, some operators did not comply and needed to be told by the authorities to do so. This included some restaurants secretly allowing customers to dine in and some markets which have not been given an exemption to open, continuing operations. China Press reported a video clip showing local authorities ordering petty traders at a farmer's market in Kuala Langat to shut down while some people walked around the market in masks. According to the order, only public markets can remain open while pasar tani, night markets and other form of markets are not allowed to operate. Restaurants are also not allowed to accept dine-in customers and can only provide takeaway and delivery services. Instances of non-compliance were reported in pockets all around the country, and it appears that not everyone stayed home either today. But did they have valid reasons to be out? We interviewed several people we saw out and about in the Klang Valley to find out.
So the reason you're out here is because you're buying your necessities?
Necessaries, yes. Food or anything.
Kalau nak ikut tu semua tu bagus kan. Tapi itulah sebab ada hal tu sebab nak keluar juga tu. Sebab pertama nak ke Jalan Duta sebab immigration. Lepas tu langsung ke pasar cari ikan.
Jadi kenapa masih ke Petaling Street je?
Saya nak cari barang sikit.
Cari barang sikit, barang macam apa?
Untuk macam barang rumah, barang makan.
You tak pergi shopping kat NSK mana-mana ke 2 hari ni?
Tak ada.
So I just wanted to know, why are you still out when there's this rules? Because you know about the regulations, right? That's saying that 14 days.
I know, but I need some bread, some supply, so I try to go to my din and see if it's still open or not.
Pada saya memang susah lah nak keluar, nak bergerak ke sana sini, tapi apa kehidupan harian kita perlu juga nak beli barang-barang keperluan sehariannya kan.
Setakat hari pertama ni macam mana, apa yang apa nampak? Orang mematuhi ataupun tidak?
Setakat hari pertama ni tak ada masalah apa lagi. Saya pergi ke pasar macam biasa lagi lah.
So you are here to grocery shops? Because I saw you.
Yeah, I'm going every day. Roaming here, watching everybody, helping everyone, helping the poor, give money, all donate the money. Poor people there, young lady already sitting there, I give money them. I'm a little bit rich, my brother working in London, so I give money, I give them the money. Donate them, helping poor people.
Jadi tolonglah, saya merayu sekali lagi, duduklah diam-diam di rumah, stay at home, and protect your family and yourself.
So with the first day of the movement control order coming to an end, the Health Ministry announced another triple-digit increase in new COVID-19 cases.
As of 12 p.m. on Wednesday, 117 new COVID-19 cases have been reported in the country, bringing the total number of cases to 790. Of the 117 new cases today, 80 of them were linked to the religious event at the Sri Petaling Mosque based on preliminary investigations carried out by the Health Ministry. In a statement released this evening, Health Minister Dr. Adham Baba also said that so far 15 COVID-19 positive patients are being treated in the intensive care unit with the aid of ventilators. Meanwhile, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong His Majesty Sultan Abdullah Sultan Ahmad Shah and the Raja Permaisuri Agong Her Majesty Tunku Aziza Amina Maimuna Iskandaria visited the Health Ministry's National Centre for Crisis Preparedness and Response in Putrajaya today. They conveyed their condolences to the family of the 2 COVID-19 patients who passed away yesterday.
Malaysians have been told to stay home and not balik kampung or go on local holidays, but perhaps they need some encouragement to abide by the movement control order, and the Attorney General's chambers may have provided just that. A federal gazette has been published by the Attorney General's chambers today that bars individuals from travelling to another place designated as an infected area. The AGC also gazetted all states and 3 federal territories as infected areas. The Gazette states that no person shall make any journey from one place to another within any infected local area. However, there is an exception for those on official duty and those involved in essential services. Essential services refer to water, electricity, energy, telecommunications, postal services, transport, maritime, fuel, gas, lubricants, broadcast, financial services, banking, healthcare, pharmacies, fire and rescue, prisons, ports, airports, security, defense, cleaning and supply of food. The police instructed the public to notify the nearest police station for interstate travelling during the control movement order. However, cops were forced to suspend the move after huge crowds gathered at bus terminals and police stations in a bid to make travel arrangements before the movement control order came into effect at midnight. Yesterday, IGP Abdul Hamid Badr said only those who qualify for exemptions can be considered for approval to travel across state borders. Exemption permits will only be granted under one of the following conditions: if a close family member had died, if a family member is seriously ill, if people need medical treatment for themselves or for their family members, or other matters at the discretion of the police station chief.
There are still many questions about the order, and the government is trying to get some of those questions answered with a FAQ.
The 14-day movement control order to curb the spread of the coronavirus comes into effect today. To help consumers and businesses, the Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry released an FAQ on the operations for the retail and food sector. For those who are still confused, here are some of the details. Distribution centres that involve the supply of essential daily needs and e-commerce warehouses and supporting warehousing services are allowed to operate. Restaurants, ready-to-eat sections and bakeries can remain open, but only for takeaways, drive-thrus and via delivery services. For food courts operating in hypermarkets, they can remain open, but only for takeaway or through deliveries. Dining in is not allowed. Only tenants in the pharmaceutical industry are allowed to continue operating within hypermarkets. In shopping malls, only retailers involved in food and daily essential needs are allowed to operate. Self-service laundrettes cannot operate throughout the movement control order to prevent people from gathering. Night markets and farmers markets are also not allowed to operate. The full frequently asked questions and answers can be found at the Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry's Facebook page.
Some Malaysians may not be getting the whole point of the order, many still moving freely, queuing up here and there unnecessarily instead of simply staying home. This, if unchecked, could have dire consequences.
Health Minister Director General Nur Hisham Abdullah has warned that the public must stay home and practice social distancing or the COVID-19 outbreak will become worse. He said if we continue with the tidak kisah or couldn't care less attitude, we might face a third wave, which will be bigger like a tsunami. He said Malaysia only has a small window to break the COVID-19 transmission chain. Nur Hisham added that Malaysians can help the Health Ministry fight the outbreak by playing their role because the fight belongs to everyone. The deadly COVID-19 virus has claimed 2 lives in Malaysia and infected more than 600 people as of Tuesday.
Coming up next, EU is taking drastic measures to stop COVID-19. Iran has freed thousands of prisoners. All that and more after this. This next story is brought to you by Blue Air. The European Union is known for its unrestricted freedom of movement between member nations, but COVID-19 has put an end to that.
The European Union has called for member states to restrict incoming travel from foreigners to the bloc for the next 30 days and has asked Britain and Ireland to join them in the effort. However, within the European Union itself, its members are closing their own borders, leading to traffic and confusion. Germany has closed its borders with France, Austria and Switzerland. Poland closed its border with Germany. The unrestricted freedom of movement, which is a cornerstone of the European Union, has ended for now. The EU leadership in Brussels has condemned the internal development, saying that it is not the best way forward. They warn that border closings between members may worsen fears of a food shortage or medical supplies. Elsewhere in Europe, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has asked factories to stop pumping out whatever it is they sell and start making specialized medical equipment, such as ventilators, instead. The British government is also looking into repurposing hotels as emergency hospitals if necessary. Yesterday, France went into lockdown to contain the spread of the highly contagious new coronavirus, and Belgium announced that it will follow suit. Spain, which went into partial lockdown on Saturday, announced a €200 billion package to help companies and protect workers and other vulnerable groups affected by the coronavirus crisis.
COVID-19 is definitely bad news, but if you happen to be a prisoner in Iran, it may actually be good news. Iran has temporarily freed about 85,000 people from jail, including political prisoners, in response to the coronavirus outbreak. The government said it was a temporary move, but did not give details on when the prisoners are expected to return to incarceration. The release is limited to people serving less than 5 years behind bars. Those with heavier sentences or those linked to anti-government protests will remain in jail. This is the second wave of prisoners' release. Earlier this month, the government announced that they had released 70,000 people. The coronavirus death toll in Iran has reached nearly 1,000, and they have reported more than 16,000 confirmed cases across the country. Iran's clerical rulers have rejected locking down cities, but have advised people not to travel before the Iranian New Year on March 20th. However, many Iranians have ignored calls by the authorities to stay home, and shops and restaurants are still open. Officials have blamed US sanctions, which was reimposed on Iran when Washington quit their 2015 nuclear agreement, for hampering their fight against the coronavirus. Iran said it had asked the International Monetary Fund for $5 billion in emergency funding to combat the outbreak. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Prasad Michael. Thank you for watching. Before we go, let's see what Kuala Lumpur looked like on the first day of the movement control order.